Welcome everyone to Spirit Sessions, A View of the Light. We are so happy you have joined us. Please like our podcast. Please like our show. Share this out. Winner of whoever shares this out the most today will win a session next week with me, I guess.
Yes.
So, yeah. And I'd like you to introduce our co-host, my co-host today, Bex Marie. Teresa is away. And we've been doing this for 5 seasons. And we're so happy to welcome back a special guest who I met through a Facebook group. And it's sort of an everyday little thing. We have our gratitude share. And sometimes we just watch everybody else's gratitude and just like it and read it and enjoy their journey. But Marla started this whole group, and that's how I met Marla. And I'm so happy to reintroduce the new Marla, the new free and abundant Marla. And Marla, I know when I first met you, you had a little child, like a baby, a toddler, and you were an urgent care nurse, and you had a marriage that was kind of a bit of a struggle, and you went through. I've been able to see your journey through that, through the dissolving of your marriage, and the reemergence of you and your freedom and the abundance and the freedom from that stressful career. So I'd like you to tell us kind of your process, how you went through there, and everybody else, please share out while we're starting. And Marla, just sort of give us the 411 on Marla and how you are and what's going on with you now. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, ladies, for having me again. I always love coming on here. I know you said I'm repeat. Yes, this is my 3rd time, and it's so exciting.
Hey.
So yeah, when you first met me, I was definitely a completely different person, working as a critical care nurse and trying to hold together a marriage that was not working at all, not even close, and having a child. And I thought at the time that the best thing was to try and stick it out for her, so she would have a complete and intact family, and that I could just endure whatever I needed to endure to keep that fantasy alive. And with time, as I became more and more awakened on my spiritual journey, I realized that if I don't do it for me, it's not going to matter, what I do, because I'm also setting for her an example. And so by showing her that it's okay to be in an abusive relationship, all these things that she was witnessing, I just had like a awakening that that's not what I wanted for her. So she was kind of the catalyst in the beginning for me, like moving me along on my journey. And now I'm my own catalyst. Like I realized that I need to do it for me. And that is helping me be a better mom for her and to set a good example for her. So yes, my divorce will be final almost a year in, let me see, March 4th. It will be a year that it's final, and it took a couple of years to get there.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I never realized divorces can take an inordinate amount of time. So that was quite a process also in and of itself, but I am so happy to be free from that and realize now, like I acknowledge my part in attracting an abusive partner. I realize that, it takes 2 to tango. There's 2 sides to every story. Yes, he was abusive. Yes, that was wrong. And yes, I attracted it. I called that in. There's a karmic, I firmly believe it was a karmic relationship, that it needed to happen to propel me forward on my growth on this journey. So saying goodbye to that. And then also in the midst of all that, I filed for Chapter 13, bankruptcy, and just really have started with a clean slate, like just wiping out a lot of the old that no longer serves, that is no longer for my highest and greatest good, and just realizing that. And it's been a tremendous journey, but it's been amazing. And along the way, I've also had my eyes open to how I was attracting lack, and I kept calling that in. And that was an old story that was, I believe, generational. Like that was something that's been passed down for generations in my family. And I don't own that story anymore. Like that's not my reality. I totally and completely believe that the universe is abundant and we all have access to it. That's our birthright. And lack is a story that is man-made. It's not real. And that has been so pivotal for me in my life. Like just being able to open up to that abundance. It's amazing. It's so amazing.
When you talk about lack and attracting lack, how did that sort of show up? Like I love examples of what, so people can sort of relate how they might do it in their own life. How would that have shown up for you?
Well, part of it was, a loveless marriage. So love was lacking in that marriage and that relationship. Money problems, like not having enough money, always feeling like I never had enough money, and being broke, living paycheck to paycheck when why? Like what? Because I was buying into that story that we were broken. So that's what I said. That's what was manifested to me. Lack in relationships in general, like not having friends, and realizing that I called that into being also. And meanwhile, now I have this amazing community of like-minded souls, and it's just been amazing to witness that transformation. And so that was really a lot of the lack, a lot around money, and then feeling like even in my business that I was lacking as a leader, as a teacher, as a healer, and, never feeling like I was quite enough. But now realizing that I am a powerful being, and I am enough, more than enough, like it's all.
Lack sort of like comes from not feeling secure, right? Not feeling secure in yourself. So you look for it outwardly.
Yes.
You think that's like kind of a basis of that?
I think that plays a lot into it, and then I'm just going to reference this book now quick, and I'm sure we'll.
Bring it up right to the camera so we can see it a little better there. Yep. Oh, okay. The
Abundance book by John Randolph Price. It's a little book. It's about 3.5 inches by 5 or 6 inches, and it's not very thick, but it's chock full of a lot of wisdom that has helped me with my abundance. And I was introduced to it when I last year I started working with a coach for my business with Deanna Deacon, and she has a program, a container called Intuitive Influencers. And I was just guided. I knew that was my next step, and so I joined, and that has been so transformational also, because this book was something that she recommended as reading for us. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you buy it, it's like, $5 on Amazon or whatever, and then it just sits there. And then somebody was like, well, anyway, let's do a challenge. Anybody want to do it? Let's read it. We'll do it for 40 days. There's a 40-day plan in here. There's 10 principles, and then working all of those principles one a day for 40 days. You go through them 4 times, and I was like, okay, let's do it. And then one by one people fell away, but I was like, no, I'm going to do this. Like that was my like little nudge to be like, this is where you need to go next, So I was reading through that, and my favorite, I'm going to share my favorite principle from here. It's number 5, principle number 5. I have them all written out on little papers. Money is not my supply. No person, place, or condition is my supply. My awareness, understanding, and knowledge of the all-providing activity of the divine mind within me is my supply. My consciousness of this truth is unlimited. Therefore, my supply is unlimited.
Reminds me of the Book of Miracles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm very reminiscent of that lessons.
So amazing, just to be reminded of where I was placing my trust, right? Like my trust was in my job, was in money. And meanwhile, money is just one way that abundance is given to us. Like that abundance flows to us. It's all there for our accessibility. It's our birthright. Like we all are able to tap into this. And, by me tapping into it, it doesn't take away from Rhonda and it doesn't take away from Bex. We all have, like, it's unlimited, just to get that concept, like you can't even fathom it with your physical mind. Like, wow, no, it's real. We are shown with our society, with, media, with so much being told, no, it's only limited, not very much, there's only a certain amount of people that have, abundance or money or rich or all that stuff. And that's not true. That's really not true. That's a lie that they are telling you, and it helps to keep you enslaved to the system.
I think I heard recently about a survey that they did, and they figured out, by surveying a lot of poor and rich people, that really people that were at a $70,000, say, salary a year were no happier than billionaires.
Right.
So it really didn't make a difference. Like up to that point, yeah, it's nice to have it because then you just don't have to worry about anything. But above that point, it really doesn't matter because you have all the same problems and it doesn't matter. And no matter how, we see a lot of sad rich people, and people say, yeah, I wish I had his sadness because at least then I could afford groceries. True. There is a point where money abundance is necessary to bring us those creature comforts and that creature security of, a roof over our head and groceries on our table. But above a certain amount, it doesn't seem to matter so much, I guess. And the abundance of spirit and the abundance of knowing you can always create more and you give away more and you get more back is a great place to be in your life. And what a great lesson for your daughter, because look, I'm secure, even though, whatever. We have choices all the time that we can make.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And helping her see like what a powerful manifester she is. Like she's already noticing that. Like, even the other day, like, she was like, she manifested like this great amount of snowfall. You have to know, like the forecast can be, one way or the other. It's, like the only job where you can be wrong and still have a job kind of thing, And she was so excited. She woke up the next morning. She looked at, she's like, yes, I manifested it. I was like, yes, you did. Like you, like, look at how powerful you are. She's manifested a lot of other things in her life, and being able to bear witness to that with her and have her like realize like, I'm powerful. I can manifest this, and so now even when she asks for things, even if it's something that I don't feel like I can afford to provide for her at the moment, you never know. Be open. Stay curious. Stay curious to possibilities that possibilities are endless. Anything is possible. So I tell her that, and she'll say sometimes too, like she'll catch me. I'll say something and like kind of going back to the lack, and she's like, "But Mom, you said anything is possible," and I'm like, "Yes, you're right. You are right, 100%. You're right."
So she's like, you're like the person that keeps pointing at you and saying, you got to be on point. You got to be on point. Brings you back to your truth. Now, what a wonderful thing to have manifested in your life.
Yes. I know, right? Like that's another thing to witness, like the manifestation of communication with her. Like that's been something, and she's a little Scorpio, and so she's kind of like keeps her feelings inside and like, does her private self. And we've been working together, and I've been working on my authenticity and my sharing and using my voice and speaking my truth. And she's coming out and she's expressing herself more. And, I'm just like welcoming this abundance of communication with my daughter. Like that's another form of abundance that I'm manifesting in my life. And it's just such a blessing. And to be able to witness, like she was having a rough time last night because I had another call this morning, and I'm on with you ladies this afternoon, and then I have another call later on, and she was like, oh, well, it feels like you don't want to, like, I guess you don't want to spend time with me and all that. And so talking through like the importance of honoring my needs and what is important and valuable to me, and my investment in my growth, my business, my spiritual community, like everything, like all of this stuff all together. And then she was sad. She got up and then she drew. Art is one of the forms that she uses to like release her emotions too. If it's hard to put it into words, if she draws, that helps. So she drew an outline of herself and then was putting like symbols on her body of like where she was feeling, the anger or the whatever. And then we had a beautiful little drawing session together. She likes to teach me to draw. She's a much better artist than me. So I'm like, you know what, this is a bonding time. So we sat and we drew together. And then she was so sweet. We were doing like different things with each month to represent each month, and using stickers and stuff, and like, an abundance of stickers. We had abundance of stickers. Like, this is amazing. I'm looking everywhere I look, there's abundance. And so I finished my drawing, went to bed, and then I woke up this morning to such a beautiful little note from her. She's like, I love your drawings, but I would suggest to add more color.
Everyone needs more color in their life, right?
Yeah, and it was so sweet. And then she's like, I hope it's okay that I put some color in it, like, she's like, but 100%, like, got 100% on your project. And she's like, just let me know if that was okay,
That's sweet.
So I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm going to like save this, because this is just such a beautiful example to me of, us working together and communicating. And yeah, absolutely. 100%. Let's add more color, because, like, there's an abundance of color for us to add. So why not,
People think abundance is like witchcraft. You know what I mean? Like wish, as in wish craft.
Right.
Like you wish for it on a star and then it'll come. But there's more to abundance than that, isn't there? So what have you found that you need to do to create abundance beyond just hoping for it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a big, people watch The Secret and they say, well, if I think about it, then I'll get it. But that's not all there was there to it, right?
Right. It's so much more than that. And you touched on it in the beginning when you did my intro with the gratitude group. Like, for me, that gratitude practice of having an everyday gratitude practice with accountability has been life-changing. I started that probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I don't remember exactly now at this point, because the years, as you get older, the years all kind of flow together. But for me, taking the time each morning, usually I do it in the morning, taking the time each day, definitely, to reach into my inner being and just feel the gratitude for so many things. So like, I often don't even put down everything that I'm feeling gratitude for. I make it a practice for at least 3 things, try to make it new 3 things each day. And it's just been a huge shift. Like, I can walk outside and just look around and look at the abundance of nature around me. I live in a city, but there's still nature. Like, I can see, like, I walked out yesterday and we had an ice storm the night before. So everything was sparkly and it was just like thousands of diamonds, and just like pulling in that abundance and that gratitude for that beauty. And I was just like, all going around trying to snap pictures. My pictures pale to Rhonda's beautiful crafts. But
I more than you do. That's all.
I just love to like be out. Like, I'm trying to capture like how beautiful it is, even just for me, for my own sake, for later on. Because we all have days sometimes we get lost and need to kind of just come back to ourselves, come back to our center, come back to nature. And so for me, even just looking through my pictures, I'm just like, oh yeah, it like brings back so much gratitude.
It's like a meditative practice where you focus on being very mindful by taking a picture. That's what I always find. It's like I have to really look at details when I'm doing it. So it's a mindfulness practice, I find too, and a gratitude practice, because look at that. It's just beautiful. Can't you see that? And and I think you see the same way. That's a really way of practicing gratitude and mindfulness.
Yes, and I love that you brought that up, because so many people were like, oh, I can't meditate. I don't, like, I can't just sit there. well, meditation is not only just sitting, in lotus pose with your mudras. Like I find so much benefit from being out in nature and having just a meditative walk, like that I can, like, so much just flows between me and, and nature. Like there's so much that comes from that. So I think, that was a really good point, Rhonda, like just being able to come back to meditation in many forms. Also, that's one thing also that I've been doing, along with, like, I did the abundance book practices for over 200 days. Like, I don't know, I lost track of it. It was over 200 days. But also, in addition to that, I've been doing, along with my Kundalini Yoga practice, like that was the last episode we did, was talking about that. I've been doing Kriya on abundance. So every day for, I think today was 276 days in a row, I've been doing this meditation for abundance and really opening up to it. And I'm shifting, and I know I'm shifting, and it's an energetic thing, and I'm putting it into my aura and like just expanding my radiant body. And it's just been so incredible. So I'm aiming to do the 1,000 days. So I'm on my way, but
Awesome.
it's incredible. There's so many things you can do to help shift your mindset and your views, and to heal old stories, honor them. I think there's value in recognizing them and honoring them for what part they did serve for you in your life, but to also be able to then release and say, you no longer serve me. Like, I realize that there's something better. There's a truth out there that, it better suits my reality that I'm creating. And taking back the power and deciding that that's what you want to see in your reality. And if it's something that's not, just, you can say, I'm sorry, but that I don't accept that. Like, that's not what I'm creating. Sorry. On to the next.
I love that. I think one of the biggest obstacles that I've found with creating, manifesting abundance, things like that, is getting to that point where you have to release the resistance. Because of course it is the old story, right? So we get to that point where we're like, okay, it's showing up, and bam, the story shows up again, right? Yeah. Here comes that old story, it's back, and you're like, all right, but I've done this work. There's still resistance. You can feel it in your body. You get to a point with weight loss or anything like that. You get to like this plateau of like, okay, I've gotten this far, but can I believe in going further, right? Can I actually believe it so much that it has no choice but to manifest? So how do you push past that point of resistance when you've gotten so far? You see it everywhere, but that's like, okay, I want to manifest something bigger, right? So how do you move through that?
So another powerful piece of my practice is I am statements, or our I am statements. So essentially rewriting the neurology, the neuropaths in my brain of, if you say something long enough, you believe it, essentially. So, what? I am worthy. Because that was one thing that I noticed there was a lot. It wasn't just the money issue. It was that I didn't believe I was worthy of it.
Right.
Like, who am I? Like, why? I mean, no, I am worthy. I am deserving of this, and I am enough. So every day, like, I start my journaling practice with those 3 I am statements. Mm-hmm. And then I include also some I am statements around money. So creating that abundance, I am bountifully supplied with money. I am boundless abundance. I am a mighty money magnet. I am the spirit of infinite plenty individualized. And that was one thing that this book talks about too. It goes into how, like, we're not separate from God or from source or universe, however you want to reference that energy. We're not separate. That power is within us. And when we can connect with that and realize that we're one with that power source, like, it opens up so much too. So another powerful exercise that I would also like to offer to everybody is to write down, 3 to 5 statements that you believe right now about money. or something that you've been told all your life, like, money doesn't grow on trees, or, money's dirty. Oh, dirty, filthy lucre, that kind of thing. And then rewrite it. Money is beautiful and pure.
Now let's ask the audience to rewrite a statement now that they believe me. Just put it in the comments and give us their example. Yeah, that'd be great if they could.
Yeah.
What you're saying so reinforces what we had a guest earlier, Michael Lozier, who wrote The Law of Abundance. He wrote many books on abundance, and he also does a lot of training on abundance. But it's nice to hear your perspective, which is a softer, more just a more like a connecting reference, and the great. He said, putting your vibe up. And that's what, and you've given us examples of how to put your vibe up, how you put your vibe up every day, and we can follow a lot of that. But I'd like to see if the audience wants to rewrite some of their statements. So what's one that you rewrote? So
one that I rewrote was about money being filthy, dirty lucre. Because that was like, I heard that so much, and, they pull it from the Bible and all this. And it's like, money's energy. Money is not dirty in and of itself. People abuse it and create something, but money itself is not dirty. And so that was one thing. Like, I have 5 that I rewrote that I tell myself every day. First and foremost, it is safe and easy for me to have and receive lots of money. Rich people are kind, loving, and generous. Money is pure and clean. Money is beautiful and good. And this is my favorite. There is more than enough money for everyone.
Yes. And that's a lot of people always, when I see people, it's like the Hawaiian blessing. When you see something that somebody has, you bless them for having that.
Yes.
You don't go, oh, like, they got a new car. It's like, aren't they lucky they have a new car? Isn't that lovely? They have a new car. And you bless their new car to them. Or you bless the fact that they won the lottery, because there's more than enough. Or you bless the fact that they, got a handsome, loving husband, because there's more than enough out there. Though sometimes you wonder.
I was just going to say, I'm hoping there will be, or there is, but we haven't had that experience yet. Let's manifest that.
In the fullness of time. The fullness of time.
Yes. They're out there.
They're out there, for sure. Melinda says, I rewrote I'm a welfare case. So what did you rewrite? How did you rewrite that, Melinda? Put what you put. Yeah. Anyways, I would like to see what people's positive statements are if they want to write them.
Absolutely. And I would highly encourage each one of you to repeat these, rewrite these, write it out every day. Write it out and say it out loud. So you're working on your brain pathways in different levels. So by saying it, you are, and by writing it, you are. So, they say spelling, it's spelling because you're creating a spell. So you can create it, write it out. You're creating the spell of what you're creating for your life. And so I highly recommend to do it. And, I don't want to say 21 days or, however many days they say to create a habit. Do how long you feel you need to, because for me, I did past the 40 days that the book recommended, because I felt like my money stories were so entrenched and so deep. And I'm sure there's still more that are going to come up, I know I haven't healed them all, but do it, intuitively, go in and see, intuitively, are you guided to do it for 100 days? Are you guided to do it for 30? However long you're guided to keep doing it and keep reaffirming the truth to yourself that's for you and for your journey. I still write those I am statements even past the 200 and whatever days I worked with the book. It's something that I feel that I still am gaining benefit from doing so, still rewriting and creating my reality. So I find a lot of value in still doing it.
Well, it's definitely it's a full commitment in reprogramming. You have to undo the old programming and start the reprogramming process. And it takes time. It takes commitment. It takes mindfulness, So kudos to you for being able to do that, because I know that I have trouble with commitment and long-term things. So it's definitely inspiring me to want to start an abundance journal and just, write out abundance, affirmations and things like that, just to bring them back into my awareness more fully.
And sometimes you don't feel like doing it, but even if you make yourself do a little bit,
right,
then you don't. Then it shifts you. And Anne says, I'm working on inner child issues. One is anger and giving away my power.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that can block your abundance too. When you say, well, I'm just a victim of my issues, and I can't do anything about it because it's outside influences making me the way I am. And giving away your power there, where you could turn that around and say, I will no longer give away my power. I have the right to create the life and abundance I want, right? I have that right, and that's a God-given right. And I always say, God doesn't care. He only cares about one thing. He wants to make you happy. He wants you to be happy, whatever form that is. He wants you to be happy. So, that's God's ultimate goal. Is it like any parent? Like, I think any parent would, like, that's all they want to see for their children, right?
Yes.
Or the source or whatever. That's the part of us that just wants to be happy and content, whatever that looks like for us at this moment.
Yeah. I love that Anne brought up the inner child stuff, because how many of us have had major inner child issues that have kept us from feeling safe and secure to allow the abundance to come in, right?
Oh,
so it's really going back to that and saying, okay, so I may
and
have
they're
been
inherited.
Right, in instances where I wasn't feeling safe and secure at the time, but I've always been safe and secure, in truth, always, and helping to remember that and call back in that firm foundation of support and love that we all have as our divine inheritance.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think too, the inner child part is huge, because even looking back, I never thought it was safe to even trust myself to lean into my intuition and all that. So I've been working with my inner child a lot too. And there's another Kundalini Yoga practice that I do that's a child's meditation, and really connecting with my inner child every day. It's so beautiful. And just telling her every day that she's worthy, she's deserving, she's enough, and it's safe to trust herself, and just keep reinforcing that. It's been such a beautiful journey to witness that transformation too, of coming back home to myself, because you brought up a good point with the victim mentality, Rhonda, because I carried that for so long of oh, my ex-husband, he was abusive and blah, blah, blah. Oh, whoa, oh, poor me. Oh my gosh, that was horrible. And, getting people to feel sorry for me and all that. But realizing my part into it, and also realizing that I don't have to make that my I am not a victim. So I am powerful. I stand in my power, and I embrace that, and I release that whole victim thing. So that's why I want to rework my bio a little bit, because
now you want to put it all in the positive part.
Right? Yeah, there's something about being relatable to people, but there's also it just doesn't feel authentic saying that anymore. It just feels I feel it in my solar plexus. It's just this is not aligned anymore, Marla. So
now I'm starting my life over.
Right. You could just putting it as it's my story was, but no longer is, and just shifting it in that way, so that you're not identifying with it anymore. And that's why it's coming up in that solar plexus, because it is challenging your will again. It's challenging your power center. So you say my story was, or identified my story as, but my story is now this, and because I've made these changes and these shifts and I've let it go, I no longer need to be in that space anymore.
Even if you're in the midst of it. Yeah. Those are great and powerful things to say. This was my story. I am working on it.
Right.
And like Melinda wrote, everything I desire comes to me with ease and grace. Yeah.
Yes.
You always want to put that little caveat at the end, ease and grace.
Great.
I want to start over, and you have to file a bankruptcy. But you got yours restart over, and it's a clean slate, and all the hooks and cords have been broken. But ease and grace would have been nice to put that in there, and it would have been easier, right? So, that's always a great thing to add, with ease and grace at the end, because we get exactly what we speak into power, right?
Yes.
So, Yeah. It's important to know that our words and what we write are very powerful things.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a mantra that I have on my bedroom door that I see every time I walk, to the bathroom or to my room, and it's the universe conspires to achieve my desires. And that's my favorite one. Like that one for me is just like, yeah, absolutely. Hell yeah, it does. Every day, every moment, it is supporting me to live the life that I truly want. So it's just bringing it back because there'll be days that I'll just be like, nothing's going. And then I see that and I'm like, you're right. Okay. Thank you.
Yep, exactly. Those visuals are awesome. Like before I listed my place to sell, I had stuff all over too, just a reminder, like, even with the 4 agreements and just all this stuff, just bringing me back to source and just coming back to my truth. Like it's invaluable to be able to do that.
Right,
I love that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that one's my favorite. And I just want to say happy birthday to Melinda. It's her birthday today.
Melinda, happy birthday. I hadn't noticed that. I'm sorry. I feel badly now. But happy birthday, Melinda. I'm going to give you a big shout out and a big energetic hug. Melinda is a neighbor. Well, as far as we're all neighbors, she only lives about 3 hours north of me. So, and we've been able to connect a few times. So happy birthday. And I'm glad you're enjoying the snow as much as I am here because we have an abundance here for your daughter right now, about 3 feet.
She was
you can tunnel in the drifts now and make snow forts. It's excellent. But you kind of reminded me of where, you don't always end up where you start. And even when you think that there's nothing going to happen and bad things happen, like we were talking in a Dreamweaver kind of thing that we were participating in, and how I said, I've manifested lots of good things in my life. I remember, and I had to think about it to realize what I have done and how powerful I am. And one of the, and I'm not saying that in that kind of, but that reinforces it. When I was first married, we were poor, like really poor. And we were working on a farm, very poor, working for a dairy farm as a pair, getting paid just enough and paying rent. And we loved the farm. And we couldn't buy it. There was no way. I always said my husband had a defect. He was a genetic defect. He was not born a dairy farmer, so there was no way he was ever going to be able to buy one. And this was when interest was like at 12 and 14 and 18% when you went to buy property. So it just, and we had to move away because things didn't work out in partnerships, which often happens with those rent-to-own partnerships. They don't work out. And from the first time I saw where I live now, I was in love with it. I just loved this place. And we went away for 5 years, and then we moved back because my husband got another job in the area, and it's closer to both our parents. And this place came up for sale, just the farm where we want it. And like, how the heck are we ever going to buy this? And my neighbor said, well, you can buy it through trust, because we knew that probably we wouldn't be able to buy it directly from who we had left in the partnership, because they probably would have just not done that. Anyways, very long story short, we were able to buy the property through a friend of mine and pay them and whatever. It was all legal kind of thing. And so here I am, and the farm that I fell in love with when we were before we even were married. I fell in love with the property, and we built a house after a few years and raised our family here. And we have this beautiful, 250-acre farm in the middle of nowhere, but we love it. And I remember I gave my husband a book about this little township. It was called My Four Walls. And in the front, when I went away, I said, someday we'll be able to get that farm. And I think, I thought, oh, well, there, I manifested that.
You did.
Yes.
And that's how roundabout sometimes these things can be. Yeah. And so don't give up on, if it doesn't come. I should have put with ease and grace. That was my thing.
Well, now you know. Now you have the awareness.
But it was but we had to work at it, and we had to do the work too. And that's what you've been doing, is the work. Let's see, what did Anna said? I manifested greater health on the new moon in January, and after that, my body showed me everything I needed that needed attention.
Nice.
So yeah, I know you have a business, and I wanted to talk about that. Are you still making those beautiful malas, and you have that?
I am. I love creating Tantric Malas. It's just, there's something that just lights me up so much when I'm in that creative flow and working with the crystals and the mantras and creating it. It's in sacred geometry, really. It's so powerful. I have two. One, I don't know if you can see the little one. I have a little one with just spacer beads that I made. It was smaller than my other longer one, but they light me up. I did a workshop in December on the 12 Flow portal, and I'm going to be offering more workshops this year to come and, we'll put together kits and, get everything set. And then everybody just joins on a Zoom call and we create Tantric Malas together. And the energy is incredible also doing that. And I had so much fun doing it. And I had a lot of good feedback. So I'm excited to offer more of those this year. But yeah, they're just so much fun.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
Sounds such a positive. So how do you use your malas after you've made them, or you've made them for people custom, for those who aren't very artistically or unable to do them? Some people have rooms for that, or just don't have the time. But want to support you. What do you do with them once you have created them for the people?
So they're a very powerful tool, a protective tool for your aura. So I wear mine almost every day. And then especially like if I'm going out in public, I'm going to be around other people's energies. I want to make sure I have my malas on so that I have some extra protection there. But yeah, they're just very protective, and they're also kind of up level you during meditation. So I always have mine on during my Kundalini Yoga meditation time and my journaling time. It just takes it another level. And I also like to open my Akashic Records before I go into all that. So it's just, I have this whole like powerhouse, boom, like great start to my day. Like, let's just get it going. So that's been awesome. But yeah, they're just, it's amazing when you work with them and the intention. So when I make them specifically custom for people, there's a specific intention or specific mantra that I work with during creation. And then that's for what the person will refer to or review throughout, while they're wearing it, and just kind of bring themselves back to that, what their purpose, what their desire is for having it. Like what do they desire to come of it? So you can put a lot of intention with the different crystals that you use to just create such an added boost for your manifestations and just healing. And it's been really incredible. I have like some really great reviews over on my Marla's Malas page of people working with them and just how beautiful it has been.
Yeah, I find crystals are a great focuser of intention, just that they're a physical manifestation of intention almost on their own, because you see them, you feel them, and they have their own energy. So they kind of, like, it's a real trifecta of manifestation that you can have. And working with crystals is so amazing to start with. And Marla, so where can people find you? And, we want to know that. And so where can people find you, and anything else coming out for you besides your workshops for Malas?
Yeah, this workshop for Malas, and then I'm also in the process of creating a workshop for abundance. So working, really just going in deeper with the abundance book and each of the 10 principles, and just diving into that, what it was intuitively downloaded with my process, and then working with, a group that whoever joins, the group that joins, working with them and what they're downloading and working with through their money stories and all that too, and just really coming into embracing the truths of abundance. So that will be coming out too. That's still like in the works, but that will be coming out. People can find me on Facebook. I have Intuitive Care with Marla on Facebook and Marla's Malas. And then also over on Instagram, I have Intuitive Care, and it's intuitive_care_. And I also have Marla's Malas over there also. And I do have a TikTok. I haven't put a lot into my TikTok. It's still kind of like, there's a few posts, so we have a few followers, but I haven't I felt like there's just too many social media things to try.
You kind of have to kind of circle them around and try and use them all together. But
yeah. And then I have a website, www.intuitivecarewithmarla.com that will have my malas. It'll have the essential oil blends that I make or create, alchemize, and also the different programs that I'm offering. So I have the Soul Purpose Alchemy program. We'll work intensively one-on-one, just like one-on-one coaching sessions, actually for, I think it's 6 weeks or 6 sessions. It can be broken up over time, over a few months. And then I have Akashic Records sessions and and Reiki, not just, and Shamanic Reiki sessions too.
Shamanic Reiki, which is awesome too. So yeah, really, if people connect with you, you get a full meal deal from Marla, really. So that's awesome. Bex, you have some more questions for Marla?
I do. So,
Marla?
Huh?
The talented Marla.
Yes, absolutely. So there's one question I want to ask before I get to those 3 questions, though, and that is, what advice would you have for someone who may be in the position you were in not that long ago of being in maybe not a happy home life or a really stressed out job, facing financial issues? Like, what advice would you have for them? What was the pivotal thing for you that shifted everything to bring you to where you are today?
Well, right away, what came to me was don't give up. And you are powerful. It makes me emotional. Like, you're way more powerful than you even realize. And you have the power to change your reality. You have the power. You're not stuck where you are. You absolutely are not stuck. So don't give up. And find community. Find community. It's important. It's so important so that you know that you're really not alone.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's beautiful. Okay, so the 3 questions. The first question is, if you had to choose a song to be the theme song of your life, what would that be? And it can be for right now. It doesn't have to be your whole life. It can be the new Marla. What's the Marla right now?
It can be the one that's up in your grill right now. So, yeah. Up in your grill right now.
Up in my grill. All you need is love.
I have that on my tattoo, actually. So it's always on me. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that, there's so many that have played like an important part of my life. Like going through the divorce, it was like, realize that there's that song, I Miss Me More. And just coming back to that, realizing that, no, like none of that. I get to find out who Marla is again, and but now it's really coming back to love. It really is coming back to love and realizing the importance of love. And we downplay it, but the value and the importance and the power of love, unmatched. And that's really and truly all you do need. That everything else falls into place when you come from a space of love, and when you're really connected with yourself and love, it all just flows.
Absolutely. And don't forget to give a nod to Lizzo's Soulmate, because we know that was the anthem for a while too.
Yes,
that was such a good one.
I was blasting in my car on the way to work so many mornings.
That is a true goddess anthem.
100%. And that's the thing, like when you mentioned that the good men that are out there, and just not focusing on their absence, right? Like just feeling the presence of my soulmate in my life. And I don't see him in 3D personally right beside me right now, but that's okay. Like I feel the connection, and not focusing on the lack of it, because if focus on the lack of it, then you'll get more of that lack. So
and when you make out your list of what you find in it, be very specific. I'm going to give you that very, very, from the time they like to get up in the morning to go to bed at night to what you want in the refrigerator. Because if you don't, you may have the perfect man, but if he's a night owl and you're a morning person, it's not going to work. It's going to be a problem. So I mean specific, but that really, really will tell a lot about yourself. And good relationship with his mother and father is also a good one. But make sure he's not living in mom's basement still.
I actually did that when I was like in my 20s. I made a list, and of course on the top of that list was 6-pack and pecs. So I guess he's still out there somewhere. Priorities, right?
Right. Whatever partner you're desiring, you've got to make sure that you're specific. Just because the universe gives you exactly what you want.
Yes.
And exactly what you say. So, like, it's always listening.
Yep.
It's always listening.
I love it. Thank you, Rhonda.
Yeah. Okay. Second question. What is your favorite crystal right now?
So right now I've been working with a Vogel. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a Vogel. So it's a clear quartz Vogel. Let's see if I can get it up closer.
That's
it has
beautiful.
a lot of facets and it's pointed at both ends.
Is that machine?
So using it a lot, like just in my heart space, and just it's a very powerful healing crystal. So just really just having it just send its energy throughout my whole body to heal, because I am on a journey of healing my body also. Disease is not welcome anymore. I'm not buying that old story either. And so just, working with all my tools of, creating a healthy terrain and working with, Archangel Raphael and this lovely Vogel. Like, I don't know if you could see, like,
that's gorgeous.
Look at the inclusion in it. It's gorgeous.
Yes, it is incredible. So that's my crystal that I'm working with now.
Lovely.
Love that. That's great. Okay. Last question is, have you ever experienced extra dimensional intelligence?
I wish I could say yes. I want to, so I'm opening up to that. I mean, that's going to get rid of that lack, because I feel, like I feel the energies around me, but I haven't necessarily had like the encounters that people have that they can bear witness to. But I'm open to it, and I am aware that they're out there, and I'm very grateful for them.
I feel like maybe you've probably seen something moving in the sky at night.
I don't even know that. I think you've met them in New York.
In New York, yes.
That's probably a good point. I just didn't realize. But you're right, Bex. Like, I have seen cloud formations and stuff that are intriguing and that I just feel like are
more than what they seem.
So and so you're right. I probably just haven't given the value to what I have seen. I'm sure I've been given lots of signs that I've missed. So I would say the cloud formations have been the most prevalent ones that I've acknowledged.
Right.
And I just see, you'll get the orbs. I'll get the orbs sometimes in my pictures and stuff, and I'm like, oh, hi, you're there. Thank you for showing yourself.
Well, that's the thing is, like, so many times we do have these experiences. We just don't acknowledge them as experiences because we want a bigger, more obvious experience. But like, for me, it was really validating when I was able to confirm that a dream I had was an actual experience, because even in dreams, they can come and visit and we can have those interactions. It's just that I had dismissed it as a dream, right? So keeping that in mind, you may have had a lot more experiences than you realize.
I just got like full body angel bumps. So that I have. That's like my confirmation that I have. So it's a good reminder to be a little bit more aware and open. Again, staying curious to what comes through my consciousness and through my awareness. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And have fun with it.
Yeah, exactly. Anything is possible.
Exactly.
I just get so excited, like realizing that.
It makes life, literally you learn how to play with life instead of just live, or exist. You're learning how to play, and it becomes more of a game, more of a joy, more of a, I don't know, like, it's just, alignment is in joy, is in play, is in love, is in all of these beautiful things that we limit ourselves from experiencing because we get weighed down by the bullshit of the 3D, right? So we can just bypass all of that, say, nope, that's not it. I'm going right for the joy, right for the fun, and play, interact with life in a way that that it's going to show up for you every single day.
Yes, exactly. It's a good point to just bring in really quickly. It's like one thing I keep reminding myself. I've been through some major shit. Not once did the universe desert me. Not once did I land on my ass and was left there deserted. Not once. So going forward, I just keep reaffirming that no matter what happens, I am safe and protected and provided for. And how it comes, I'm open to experiencing it because it's an adventure, but I will never be deserted and just gaining so much comfort and security in that. Like there's my security, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that confirmation. Beautiful. And thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
And we're so excited for you where you're going on your journey.
Yep. Wherever you go, you'll be, right?
Success is yours, baby.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm so excited.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Thank you again for having me on here and just being able to share it as part of my journey. It's been such a blessing and pleasure. Thank you.
Well, we look forward to having you back as you progress, because it's going to be exciting to see where it goes from here and, to see what you're able to manifest.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad for all the examples and how you've done it, because people just learn, like, just vibe up and anyways, getting goosebumps now.
Okay, I have one more thing real quick, and that is the winner of last week's Share It Out who won with Teresa, and that is Candace Blankenship. Congratulations, Candace. Teresa will be in touch to schedule your session. And please, guys, take a minute to share this out. Invite your friends. Whoever shares out the most this week will win with Rhonda, and we'll announce that winner at the end of next week's episode. So that's it from me.
So thank you so much, and have a lovely day. And next week we have Christine
Gold. Yes,
Gold
we do.
Christine Gold on next week, which will be fun to see her again. We just invited some of our old guests because we always say we'd love to hear more from you, and we're so glad you could come on, and thank you. And I'll try to participate. And now I'm going to make a thing that I'm going to participate in the gratitude challenge, so I have to do it. So instead of just reading what you do. So I will participate more to open my field of abundance to whatever the universe wants me to have and I want. So awesome. Thank you so much, Marla. And blessings, and say hi to your daughter for us, because she's such a cutie. Thanks. Bye, everyone.
Have a blessed week.